Presented for your consideration are 5 underrated and underused commanders. These are not meant as overwhelming powerhouses, but rather commanders who typically see less play, but are nonetheless fun and effective choices. The first underrated commander that I'd like to look at is Eck Barret. Perhaps because Rubinia Soulsinger saw a reprint in a Commander Precon deck, she tends to see more play than Eck. But let's examine the differences. Eck Barret has a converted mana cost of only 3, compared to Rubinia's 5. Sure, you'll be an Esper instead of Bant, but with a commander who takes control of other players' things, both are likely to get sent back to the command zone frequently. And the lower casting cost of Eck helps you bring her back out more easily and more often. But the most important difference is the nature of their control abilities. Rubinia returns control of her targets if she becomes untapped or leaves play. But once Eck gets hold of them, they aren't going back. If Eck becomes untapped or leaves play, the creature she controls is destroyed, giving you great tricks with spells or abilities that let you untap her, and thus destroy your opponent's creatures. For example, paired with Freed from the Real, and you have the ability to gain control of and destroy whatever you like, let alone the host of other cards that help you untap your own creatures. Another overlooked card that fits in this deck is Empress Galina, who is worthy of being an underrated commander herself. Get ready for a synergistic what's mine is mine style deck. The next underrated commander is the Sapling of Kolfinor. It amazes me that so many people play Doran when Sapling has just as much, if not more, to offer. The Sapling is perfect for Treefolk Tribal. Its ability means that if you draw a Treefolk when Sapling attacks, then you not only gain life, but also draw a card. In addition to all of this, the Sapling is indestructible, an amazing and rare feature for a commander to have. Prior to the 10 Gods of Theros, there were only 14 indestructible commanders available, few of them with much, if anything, to offer. The Sapling is another ideal candidate for a newcomer's first commander deck. Another underrated Esper commander, the Sen triplets, are highly unlikely to put a bullseye on your head the way someone like Grand Arbiter Augustine will. Yet, a Grand Arbiter control build is still very applicable with the triplets, and by having Augustine as a creature in your deck instead of a commander, you'll likely fly right below the radar of your opponents. The triplets protect you during your turn, and paired with other cards like Island Sanctuary and Propaganda to keep your opponent's attention elsewhere, you can slowly build your base and ready your forces. Great Esper control options here as well. In regards to the triplets' ability, being an Esper means you already have a 3 out of 5 chance to cast your opponent's spells. But with tech like Celestial Dawn, which allows you to spend white mana to cast anything your opponents are holding, you'll have your pick of their prize cards. While starting to show up more and more, Sig River Cutthroat is still highly underrated and underplayed. He's a more subtle version of Edric, Spymaster of Trest, which, again, keeps your perceived threat low. Another nice thing about Sig River Cutthroat is that he doesn't require Merfolk Tribal. Sure, Merfolk are a very synergistic tribe, and you wouldn't be worse off for building a deck around them, especially with their heavy-hitting island-walking aggro swarm. But with Sig River Cutthroat as your commander, so many strategies are open, from blue-black good stuff to blue-black control and everything in between. I personally favor a discard theme with Sig, but again, that's me, and there's a multitude of options with this commander. Perfect for a Dimir or Pirate Rogue's first-time deck. Alright, I've saved my favorite for last. Better, in my opinion, by far than Sig River Cutthroat is Sig River Guide. This friendly Marrow is able to protect himself and every creature in your deck if you go for a Merfolk Tribal. You know me, I love Merfolk Tribal. With enough mana available, you can not only ensure that your general is safe from damage, unblockable, and unable to be targeted, but he also can protect anyone and everyone else on your board, so long as they're a Merfolk. In my opinion, Sig River Guide is the most underrated commander on this list. A commander most people highly underestimate, and also an ideal choice for a player new to the format to build their first commander deck around. But choose whoever excites you for your first commander. Play what you love. Once you have chosen your commander, be sure to check out my video on building a commander deck from the ground up. And if you haven't seen them already, check out my previous videos in this series on how to pick the right commander, and whether the pre-constructed commander decks are worth buying. And please be sure to subscribe as it helps me keep making these videos.